Oh,
Hey, live. There we go.
Are we live? Did that work?
The symbol that says live. I don't normally see that, so that's quite interesting.
We live? Question mark. I don't know.
I'm not going to be able to stop looking at that counter now. 17, 18, 19.
21 seconds. Joe can't see it because he's got like old man eyes.
Wow. Yeah.
Nice.
Wow, that's really harsh.
That is pretty harsh, isn't it?
It's really mean. Yeah.
I wonder if anybody of
anybody
looking around.
Well, that's the thing. I don't even know if anybody will join us now because we've had various false starts with it.
If they've subscribed, they'll get a notification. So if they haven't got a notification, it's because they haven't subscribed. That's their fault.
The thumbnail is Fortnite, so that's cool.
No, that's just the Monty band.
Yeah, well, are we live? Yes. Oh, Karen's in. Hello, Karen.
The thumbnail's Fortnite, is it?
It looked like it on mine, but whatever. Really doesn't matter.
I don't know how to change that. It didn't give me any options on thumbnails or anything.
You'll be able to do that after the stream. But,
that's the thumbnail with the child as well, by the way, but it doesn't really matter. Oh, and Karen's playing Fortnite whilst waiting.
Oh, well, that's good. That's good. At least she's doing something.
So she's doing her own, network and mullering.
Yeah. It's weird. It's weird because I'm not doing it through my normal thing. I don't have any of my normal tools, so I'm like, oh, I don't know. Anyway, oh yeah, we need the pictures up because you want a picture. Everybody loves a picture, don't they?
Well, yeah, it's elementary, my dear Monty.
It is, yeah.
Oh, I said my dear Monty.
You see, I told you it's easy to do, isn't it? It is easy.
It's so much more theatrical.
Yeah.
Dear,
yeah.
Than dear Monty.
That's right. All right, there we go.
Smiler just says that the thumbnail is a screenshot of you guys, so couldn't probably ask for a better one, really.
Well, that's not bad, is it? That could be worse.
I'll have to take a screenshot of that later and save that.
Yeah, there you go. There's a picture of them, and you can see the comma. It's elementary, dear Data. So there we go. So we got to the fact that they're waiting for the USS Victory. Geordi calls Data to the engineering to show him a model of the Victory that he put together for the captain, whom Geordi served as an ensign. Geordi thinks that wind and sail are the proper way to move a ship, which Data finds surprising as Geordi's specialist in warp field theory. So he's like, that's interesting. Isn't your specialism warp field theory? So why would you like wind? And Geordi says it's human nature to love what you don't have. Data's then like, but you said it was urgent. You said it was urgent. I had to come to engineering urgently. And Geordi is like, oh yes, that's because we've got some spare time now. We can go to the holodeck. Well, that's still not really urgent though, Geordi, is it?
So do you want any trivia about the HMS Victory?
Well, yes.
You probably know all about it, don't you, Mark? I mean, you look quite like looking at old ships and frigates and do all this stuff on satellites and all sorts of cool stuff.
Yes, we see it quite often at the London Marathon as they. Oh no, that's not the Victory. No, that's the Cutty Sark. No, it's in Portsmouth, isn't it? It's in Portsmouth, the Victory. Yes. Wasn't it Lord Nelson's flagship?
Ask an American. I'll tell you all about it.
Go on then, Joel, tell us.
1765, apparently.
Right.
And it's obviously part of the UK National Historic Fleet, but it's the oldest commissioned war street in the world and attracts 350,000 visitors per year as a museum ship.
Wow.
Can you add anything to that?
It is not the oldest in service wooden ship, and that is Old Ironsides, the American one.
The American one, yeah.
But it is the oldest commissioned ship in the world. It is a gorgeous ship.
Yes, it's still staffed by Royal Navy personnel, isn't it? As a commissioned ship, and
Yeah.
Portsmouth. Very cool. I wonder if it's still in service by the time we get to the 24th century.
Probably will, under a dome.
Well, I
Yeah,
mean, it's 1765. I mean, you know, I'm not good back to do the math, but it could be, couldn't it? I mean, it's been a few hundred years already, so why not?
it's like it might be like, you know, when the janitor passes on a broom that he's been using for the last 30 years. So he's like, oh, I've had this broom for 30 years. I've only had to replace the handle 20 times and the brush 15 times.
Yeah,
It's
so many that it's not the original thing.
yeah, I'm not sure by the time we get to the 24th century how much of the victory would still be original.
Well, it depends what upkeep they're doing on it, really.
Yeah. I was interesting. I was actually watching. Oh, I'm going off topic, but I was actually watching a ancient architects episode about Indian cave temples, Buddhist cave temples, and there are cave temples in India, northern India, and they've got massive arched ceilings, and the arched ceilings are made out of cedar wooden beams, and those temples were constructed, and the wood, a lot of that wood is original, were constructed in something like 300 BC.
Holy crackers.
So those timber beams have been up there supporting this temple for like over 2,000 years.
Wow.
Wow.
Crazy.
I'm just sitting here wondering to myself which show I'm on.
We segued into the Monty Zone there, didn't we?
Yeah.
Slightly?
A bit weird.
Yep. Apologies. Back on track.
Back on track. Opening titles.
Yeah. So he said it was urgent. He said, yes, we got some spare time. It's time for me to be your Watson. So they head off to the holodeck with Data with a I've forgotten what type of pipe you call it. I did know. Does anybody know?
Pipe?
I don't know.
I've forgotten.
Deerstalker hat, but I'm not sure what the pipe's called.
Deerstalker hat, and Stuplum might know the name of the pipe that Sherlock Holmes uses. But anyway, puts a pipe in his mouth, and they head off to the holodeck. And an ensign asks after them, if I need you, where can I get hold of you? And Data shouts back, is it 221B Baker Street? in a Sherlock Holmes like voice. You will find us. Yeah.
He goes into a shouty voice every time he does his Sherlock voice.
Yeah.
You will find us.
A meerschaum. Yes, thank you.
Meerschaum pipe.
Meerschaum.
I knew my dad would know. He's probably had one at some point.
Calabash?
I beg your pardon. Bless
Smile
you.
Smile at someone.
I've never heard of it.
Yeah. So that's the end of the teaser, G.
Question time. So, gagging for this one. Right, starting off really, really easy. Well, it's been like, 40 minutes. So starting off really easy, quite an easy Lieutenant Commander question. So how early was the Enterprise for its rendezvous with the USS Victory? Not the old wooden one, the new one in Starfleet. Was it A, 1 day they were early, B, 2 days, or C, 3 days? How early was the Enterprise for its rendezvous with the USS Victory? A, 1 day, B, 2 days, or C, 3 days?
I have no idea.
Please put your answers in chat. This one is worth 25 TNG points to anybody who gets the correct answer. Not the cookies on the buzzer.
It's probably just going to be between Stu Plum and Karen this evening, I think.
You guys can join in as well.
Well, I know because I had to avoid not saying it in the intro.
That's true. Okay.
So I've got a bit of triv. if anybody wants some trivia. So,
Oh, always.
did you know that there was actually some, copyright in place around the use of, Sherlock as a character, copyrighted by the Doyle family, which originally the copyright was due to be lifted in 2023. It was brought forward by 10 years, was lifted in 2013. So it has been up for grabs. But obviously this was way before then. So Paramount Pictures actually produced this under the theory that they could use the parody clause of copyright to get out of the copyright, but actually no, they were sort of contacted by the lawyers of the Doyle family to say this isn't right, and if you're going to use this, that's fine, but we want a piece of the cake. Hence why actually Data playing this character doesn't happen again for 4 years, because that's how long it took to reach an equitable agreement with the Doyle family as to how much they would be paid for them to use the character again.
Yeah, because it was resolved by shipping the bottle.
Yes, correct.
Yeah.
The next one, yeah. And that wasn't until what, 94? So yeah.
Mm.
Did you like that?
That's very good.
Oh, you did.
Very good.
Okay, so
Yeah.
we've got a couple of answers. We've got several answers in. We've got Ronald has given us a B, Stu Plum has given us a B, and Karen, she's gone out there with a C of 3 days.
I can share that the person that's got the 25 TNG points, and I say person because it's not plural, it's Karen, was correct with 3 days. Yeah, round of applause. Well done.
Round of applause.
You know, with 25 TNG points.
Nice. Good start. Good start, Karen. Good start. So yes, dressed all in Victorian attire, as we can see in the picture there, they head for the holodeck. Data asks for a random Sherlock mystery where he can play Sherlock and Geordie can play Watson. So the computer selects randomize on the Sherlock Holmes mysteries and gives them one. So they enter and they are amazed at the level of detail in Sherlock Holmes's house. And Data says that all the things there are things that Holmes collected and that were specific to him. So Geordie tests that out by picking up a couple of items, and Data can name all the items in the room basically, and he just goes around going on, this is the thing, that clue that solved this riddle, and all that sort of thing. And Data almost at this point he's starting to get really excited by it all, by finding all these little items, and he looks so happy by finding these things. Geordie wants to know what his purpose is in this whole adventure, and Data tells him that he's there to document the story. And he's like, okay, right, that's good. And then Data picks up a violin and starts playing the violin. So Geordie throws himself into the character and starts writing about Holmes playing the violin. And then as he's writing about it, he looks up and he's like shocked that actually Data's really great at playing the violin. He's like, how did you do that? It's like he completely forgot that he was a android for the moment. He can just do anything he wants.
I kind of love the way that Geordie really naturally sort of threw himself into the role.
Yeah.
And so actually what he was saying was really quite poetic. I mean, I think, Geordie's a little bit of a, romantic poet deep down.
He's a bit of a writer, isn't he?
Yeah.
I would just
can bring people both to the heights of ecstasy and the depths of despair, and it's like not what you expect an engineer to just come out with off the top of his head.
I would be like, Sherlock Holmes stood 1.5 meters from the fireplace, picked up the violin, and started to play Thingybob in C major.
Yeah, I was about to say,
C minor, yeah. It's like,
yeah.
That would be, as poetic as it gets. Yeah.
We're rational, we're factual people. What you know?
It's the software engineering, isn't it? The Data tells Geordie to get the door because Detective Lestrade is here. So he gets the door even before it's like knocked. He already knows he's there. And Lestrade introduces an emissary from a foreign government who's been pocketed and had a photo stolen. And Data basically goes up to the guy, rips open the inside of his pocket, and is like, "There's your photos, sir." And more from that he's not actually an emissary. He's working against the king of Bavaria or something like that. And at that point, Geordie just is like, computer freeze program, bring up the exit, and walks out on him in a huff.
And did you hear what Data said to him on the way out?
Yeah, he's like, Geordie, but where are you going?
I was about to reveal the fact that the sir is in fact
a she.
The sir is in fact a madam. Yes.
Yeah. I guess that is a part of the story, but
yeah, it was. I think it's somebody. It's Irene Adler. I think it's from a Scandal in Bohemia, where Irene Adler was dressed as a man.
Yeah. Stu Plum noticed that Data put the book back the wrong way around. That's ultra view. That how you saw that? I didn't notice that.
Yeah, that's correct, and that's kind of a character goof because Data's very precise. He wouldn't just shove something back higgledy-piggledy. So
Good goof notice there, Stu Plum. Probably looking for all the details ready for the questions. That's what it is.
That's what it is. He's getting all these things memorized.
Everybody soon will have all the star dates.
So Geordie's upset with Data because Data knows all the mysteries already because he's read them all and has memorized them all. And the fun is in the mystery, you know. And if that mystery is gone, then so is the fun. And he's like, we've gone to all the trouble of getting dressed up, just for you to reach the end straight away. You know, there's no fun in that. So Data offers to extend the mystery. I'll just come to the conclusion, you know, slower. and Geordie's like, you're not getting this.
Are there any more, by the way? Just checking.
Any more what? Sorry?
Pictures.
Yeah, asking if there's any more pictures at the moment.
Probably. Oh yeah, look, there's the victory.
Well, we've got that picture up. I didn't really know what it means, but like the flags, apparently, I was asking Joel earlier as an able seaman. Apparently, those flags they mean something, like they mean different letters or something. But then some of these flags apparently don't actually. They're nonsensical. So some of them were chosen just because they look nice, rather than the fact that they actually are part of the code. But yeah, for those people out there that know that kind of geeky stuff, that's a bit of triv or goof, I guess.
It's a thing that sort of naval ships do, isn't it? When they come into docks or they're like on parade sort of thing, they put all their different flags out.
Dressed up all over.
They're dressed up all over, apparently.
Dressed up all over, yeah. Is that what picture we're supposed to be on? Yes, so here we are. This is them in 10 Forward Lounge, talking about Data. Getting to the end of the mystery straight away. And guess who interjects? Our favourite doctor in the whole of Star Trek.
Mildar Puldar.
Dr. Pulaski.
For the reason why they don't
like Dr. Pesky.
Data, that's essentially it, which she does again in this episode.
That's her new nickname, Dr. Pesky.
Dr. Pesky.
Joel loves her, by the way, so he's got something to say.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, dear. Get out of here.
Yeah, we liked him up to this point.
Yeah.
Sage, welcome.
Right, yeah. So she interjects and tells Geordie that he's wasting his breath because it's like asking a computer not to compute. But then Data comes back at her with a brilliant comeback and says, "Oh, really? Are you able to stop thinking on command?" And I thought, well, she got to start thinking on command. That's the trick with Dr. P. They then discuss that that succeeding is sweeter when there has been defeat. You know, it's in the trial is the joy, not just the end. And the Data could solve a mystery that he doesn't, that he hasn't read, and unfortunately, Data's read them all. So what are they going to do about that? So they decide to go down to the holodeck and program in a new mystery.
Can I just interject there? Like, wouldn't have the easier thing been just to wipe his memory? Like,
He's got
not
holodeck.
wipe his full memory, but obviously the files that are pertaining to the Sherlock Holmes novels. Just surely he could remove them.
You know, we're trying to make a point that Data is a life form. You can't just, like, for the good of them having a nice holodeck experience, temporarily give Data a lobotomy.
Well, I don't mean
that
a
doesn't
full
help your cause,
lobotomy.
does it?
You know.
Yeah. So they program the holodeck to provide a Holmes-like mystery, and Dr. P decides that she's going to go along for the ride as well. This mystery will be in the style of, but not one specifically written by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. But in the end, that doesn't quite work either, because Data picks up on all the, basically, the computer entered randomize on all of the elements of Arthur Conan Doyle stories and shuffled them up, but Data still picked up on the clues straight away. So they walk into the holodeck, and he goes straight to the end of the mystery again by finding out that it's the guy's going to be killed by a doorbell that releases a snake. So that really didn't help. So then Geordie brings up the Arch, and this time insists it creates a story capable of defeating Data, which is a really good idea. So not defeating Holmes this time, but a brand new story created by the computer to defeat Data. And then the moment he said that, on the bridge, Worf detects a power surge of unknown origin in the computer core. Basically, the processors went into overdrive, and all the fans came on, and it did a bit like my computer a moment ago. So the three continue their adventures on the holodeck. However, the professor, who is watching on now, not yes. However, a professor of unknown origin who's watching on from a distance feels strange after the Dark Fellow called for an arch.
Did you know
Yeah.
that's the only reference to any humanoid race, you know, or differentiation between humans in the entirety of the TNG series? That Dark Fellow. Only time.
It's the only time.
Brian.
Which Dark Fellow, sorry?
Geordie. There's never any mention of, you know, like a human's, you know, oh, you're from China, or, you know, or whatever. You know, there's never any
Times Arrow or one of those.
Oh, right, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, no, they say about French because of because of Data looking like he's wearing pajamas and his skin, and also there's the big goodbye.
But actually, Data's not human, so I guess maybe that doesn't count.
No, then it's not dark. So No, I guess that's right. Yep.
But obviously there is in Deep Space Nine and stuff, there are a few references
Yes.
to
Yeah, there were.
that kind of thing in that series. But yeah, this is the only one in the whole of the 7 series,
Wow.
Interesting.
which is, nice. They have lots of references to aliens and their races, so there's still a racial thing, but apparently it's as long as you're human, you're fine.
Well,
Yeah.
I think because humans and Andorians have different characteristics because they're different species.
yeah, true.
The whole point of TNG was transcending race.
Yeah. They feel they've moved beyond that now, so they wouldn't naturally pick it up as anything.
It's cool.
Yeah, I think it's really cool.
Mm.
Yeah. So this professor of unknown origin calls up the Arch himself, and the computer introduces itself to him. And he's surprised about that. Dr. Pulaski is then unexpectedly kidnapped, which we don't get to see. It happens off camera, so I'm sure G-Star was really quite frustrated by that.
Yeah, all we got to see was a shoe.
Yeah. She is carried away by 2 men, one tall, one short, left-handed, and is employed in a laboratory. Data deduces from looking at the footfalls on the ground. By working out the spacing of them and looking at the scratches and all that sort of thing. Being quite Holmesy.
I love the way it says, deduction, pure and simple. Well, not that simple.
Not really simple.
I'm really super clever.
Yeah. And he says, the game is afoot. And Geordi is impressed of his friend. I quite like the fact that this story is the first time we get to see Geordi and Data be the pally Geordi and Data that we know they are, So,
yeah, the only previous one was like when Data was doing his art and stuff and Geordi was there. And there's been a couple of little moments.
Yeah. Yeah. So yes, that was the end of Act 2. Day and Geordi follow. Oh, bye Act 2. Day and Geordi follow the footfalls, and Data realizes there's 2 men carrying the bound and gagged Pulaski.
I don't know if there was like a bit of an in joke in this one, because I'm thinking throughout that whole scene with the guy that was dead and then the police officer, they, between Geordi and Data, they say footfall. What was it? Footfalls? Yeah, they say footfalls like a lot of times, right? And then towards the end of the scene, when they hear like a sound, they both look at each other and go, footfalls. And I don't know if that was like, something that they inserted just at the end, just, an inside cast joke to take the mick out of how many times they'd said footfalls.
I don't know.
Maybe.
It was cool.
Good to know.
Can I just
corny, kind of cool, but corny element, yeah.
Can I just ask, if I do this, does it mess up the stream? Does everything still look all right?
Yeah, what are you doing?
I'm just moving my window about because I'm looking at you in different places and it's making my neck hurt. I want to put you more up to where my camera is, so I'm facing more forward.
I think it seems fine.
Okay, that's good. That's all right then.
Yeah.
I can still see you. That's good. Yeah, footfalls. They do say footfalls a lot. Geordi wonders how Data knew that she was bound and gagged, and he's like, "But you must be learning this getting this from a previous story." But Data's like, "No, it's on the noise of the footfalls and the patter of the sound, And so Geordi is still impressed. So there you go, footfalls. You hear the tapping of the footfalls. I'm just going to say footfalls over and over again. See if just as an homage. From the distance, the professor is still observing them and watching them go. The inspector then appears and grabs Holmes because he wants him for another case. Someone's been killed in the street, but Data's not interested as it doesn't relate to the Pulaski kidnapping. So Geordi decides he's going to give it a go in almost true Watson style, really, because Watson often jumps in and says, "Don't worry, I've got this covered," and then royally gets it wrong, and Geordie also gets it completely wrong, and Data steps in and solves the mystery.
So Joel,
Sorry.
tell me this: what did you think of LeVar Burton's attempt at a British accent?
Yes, Americans.
Holmes.
Oh, I say, Holmes.
Yeah.
I do a great Dick Van Dyke.
Go on,
Oh,
then.
well, he's Australian, isn't he?
Oh, is he?
No,
It just
No.
sounds Australian. His London
Oh, right, yeah.
it isn't. It's the joke is that I'm doing an imitation of an American doing an imitation
Of an
of
English
a British
person.
accent, which is really bad. So, but I'm not going to do it.
But Joel does say water because he used to say water, and it caused some issues. So now
It
he says
did.
water, and every time he says it, it makes me chuckle.
It's all right.
Now
Karen,
I'm on this show.
Karen was saying, "I missed who Joel is, apart from a new guest." And Smiler explained that you'd want a spot on the and I said that you're also my colleague, and I pointed them towards your YouTube channel. And then Karen says, "I thought we had Paris as a guest." Does she mean
Paris.
like Tom Paris?
Well, we'll always have Paris.
Well, we will.
Name the show.
I've said, "Do you mean Tom Paris?" But I don't know what she means.
I wonder if she's been on the wine.
Who knows?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I'll be invited back. I've thrown the show to pieces.
Anyway, where was that? Oh, British
Yeah.
accent.
Yes, British
British
accent.
Oh, one thing I was going to say. Oh.
Herbs.
Herbs.
No, I don't say herbs. Herbs sounds really strange to me now.
He has lived in England for 30 years, is it?
30 years. 30 long, hard, miserable years.
Long, hard years. Yeah.
He loves it.
One thing I did notice from that is this was in London, wasn't it? And the guy had just escaped from Dartmoor prison.
Yes,
Yeah.
I noticed that
And
too.
in Victorian times, on foot, seems to have just instantly arrived in the centre of London.
Mm.
They're hounded the
But
bastard, aren't they?
Do they say it's actually London? Oh yeah, because
Yes.
Holmes is
Yes.
yeah.
So, yes, basically Karen's saying that you look like a dead ringer for Tom Paris.
From Voyager.
Yes.
Ah,
So you have to remember that Karen is also a long way away from her television.
Wow, that's hurtful.
I think everybody should try and guess Joel's age.
I think Joel looks a little bit more like Christopher Pike from the movie franchise.
Yeah. Yeah, I can kind of see that.
You know, the guy that goes into the barn.
Oh, from the movie
correct.
franchise.
Can't think what he looks like.
Look him up on your phone.
Oh, look.
There we go. Yeah, I can look it up. Yep. So Data spots the professor going into a building and automatically knows that. Let me move the things on. That. Sorry. There's Pulaski.
There's
Getting all
Dr.
dressed
Pesky.
up. Dropped Dr. Pesky. There you go. Just see her all in all her glory there. Look. Oh yeah, we haven't quite got to that point yet. So yes, he sees the professor going into the building, and Data instantly knows that's where he's got to go because he recognized the professor is actually Professor Moriarty, his arch nemesis.
Oh my god!
Oh my God.
Question time.
Ooh.
Oh, exciting.
Yeah, this is the second Lieutenant Commander question worth 25 TNG points. So far, we have Karen on 25 TNG points and everyone else on 0. So good opportunity to catch up. This question is, Moriarty is played by the actor Daniel Davis. Which country is Daniel from? Is it A, England, B, Australia, or C, the USA? Which country is Moriarty played by Daniel Davis from? So which country is Daniel from? A, B, or C? Get your answers in the chat. 25 TNG points.
It's a lot of TNG points you got there.
Well, it's not as many as I'm going to be chucking out later.
He's yeah. Yeah.
I've got 10 questions, right? No, joking.
So they follow Moriarty into the house, and it turns out to be a warehouse, and they find a secret door, and they work out how to get past the secret door, and they find a secret laboratory. And so they're looking around, and Moriarty enters. And Data says, Moriarty, I presume. Which I thought was a good line. Moriarty welcomes them, but says, welcome, Holmes, but not Holmes. Welcome, Dr. Watson, but not Watson. So he knows that they're not who they say they are. That confounds Data and Geordie. They kind of look at each other in a confound way. Moriarty confirms that he has Dr. Pulaski, but hasn't injured her yet. He finds his mind is full of thoughts and images that he doesn't understand. And he tells them he knows that there is a great power controlling everything called computer. And then he calls for the Arch, which shocks Geordie and Data greatly. He then shows Data a picture that he's drawn, and he wants to know what this is. And Data immediately leaves the warehouse, walks out of London, walks out of the holodeck.
I need to give answers.
And as he leaves, I'll just say, as he leaves, Moriarty shouts after him, "Why does this frighten him?" Go on then, give us an answer then.
Okay.
Go on, go for it. Give us
So
an
we've
answer.
got both Karen and Stu Plum giving the answer C. I mistyped there. I meant to say I'd give out a bonus 10 TNG points if anyone could give me the specific place he was from. But I just wanted to plant a seed to see if anybody was, Googling. So
I'm gonna make a guess and say Australia.
Melbourne.
Australia, Melbourne. Is that what you're saying?
Crikey.
Yeah.
Crikey.
Crikey, mate.
But our two guys have guessed C, which was USA, and both of them are right.
Oh,
Yeah.
the American.
He's American. I was the reason why I chose it as a question because I was pretty surprised at that because his accent is bang on.
Yeah.
It is really good. And just to say where he's precisely from, it's not like he's just from like New York and there's some dialect accent similarities in certain places, but he's actually from Arkansas.
All right.
One of the few places Joel has not lived.
Yeah. Well, that's because he's not a landlubber. That's why.
Let me say Arkansas. Yeah, Arkansas.
Arkansas is like
No, I'm
in the
moving my
middle.
mouth like this.
That sounds New York.
He likes the coast. That's what it is. He doesn't want to be too far away from the sea.
Don't want to be too far away from the boat.
You don't get much further away from the sea than Arkansas. Well, Iowa, I suppose, maybe.
Nigeria.
What? Nigeria?
Isn't that inland of Africa? It's pretty far away from the water.
Certainly not what we associate with yachting or.
No, I suppose not. Yeah.
Anyway, back to Star Trek.
Anyway. So Data's left the holodeck. Oh, did you say the winner? Oh, you said the winner. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did nobody got the 10 extra points then?
No, because I give out the answer, but it was a bit of a checker because I thought if somebody comes up with that, they've Googled it. Nobody's going to remember that he was from Arkansas. So, yeah, just that Karen's on 50 TNG points. Stu is close behind at 25 TNG points. And the next question is going to be a commander question, which will be worth 50 points. So, opportunity to catch up, Stu.
How does it feel not being able to get points this week?
It hurts.
It hurts.
You can still give the answers. It's not a problem.
You'll just jump in with the 100-pointer at the end and win it still.
Yeah.
And brothers, we get to play too, apparently.
Everybody has to come in on the 100-point one.
Right. So Data's left the holodeck and he tries to shut the program down, but the computer says no. Data then shows Data shows the picture to Geordie, and lo and behold, it's of the Enterprise.
And he's looking at it upside down.
He's looking at it upside down because he then turns it that way and it's up the right way.
And then puts it back and stares at it upside down again, which is quite strange.
I suppose there is no right way up in space, so it doesn't really matter which way up he's looking at it. Yeah. So it turns out that Pulaski is in grave danger after all. So that's good news. We're terrible to Dr. Pulaski.
That poor woman.
Bye Act 3. Hello Act 4.
Bye commander question.
Yeah. Geordie and Data meet with Picard and the rest of the senior crew in the observation lounge. And Picard asks the computer why the holodeck program wasn't terminated. And the computer reports that it was overridden by the authority of Geordie LaForge. So everybody looks at Geordie like, what are you doing, man? Yeah.
But you
and then Geordie
try to override it back, though. Like
he does.
His authority, you'd think he could,
Yeah.
Don't try.
Do my last command. Is it Control Z? Control Z. Control Z. Yeah. Geordie realizes his syntactical error, like in front of the senior crew. He's like, "Oh my god! I told the computer that I wanted an opponent that could beat Data. Oh, why did I do that?" And they're all looking at him like he's an idiot. Data mentions that he has access to the Arch, as in Moriarty, which means he has access to the entire ship's library. So even though he was a Victorian fictional character a moment ago, now he's learning and growing. So Worf suggests going in totally armed and just blasting their way through and rescuing Pulaski. But Data thinks that's a bit too dangerous. Riker suggests destroying all the holograms. And Geordie confirms that this can be done using some sort of particle beam. It would obliterate all of the holograms, the buildings, everything in the holodeck. But unfortunately, it also obliterates human flesh as well. So that would be bad news for Pulaski. It's like, thank you, Geordie.
He explains it all in real detail. Yeah, we do this, if we get rid of it, blah, blah, blah. And it would also destroy human flesh. Like, you want to leave it. You buried the lead, dude.
Yeah, that's
Maybe
right.
Pulaski either.
Yeah. To be fair, none of them actually did. None of the cast did.
None of them did. None of them.
They're like, damn it, why won't they let us write her out?
At this point, Picard's like, "Thank you, Geordie. We all have something to contribute to this meeting, but from now on, I think you should contribute silence."
Lines.
Yeah. Troy senses a consciousness emerging from the holodeck. And so Data thinks that would make sense because the character would need to develop a consciousness in order to defeat him. Don't know how he came to that conclusion, but I think a lot of chess grandmasters have faced off against computers and been defeated without the computers actually gaining consciousness. But in this instance, we'll give it to him. The ship suddenly rocks about. And the computer confirms that the control was temporarily transferred to holodeck 2. Meanwhile, Moriarty is having tea with Dr. Pulaski, being very civilized and very English. And she's
Question
playing.
time.
Oh, I wasn't expecting a question time there.
Me neither, to be honest with you. I had to remove the other question because you announced it. You announced the answer out about 10 minutes ago.
Oh. Well, what was the question? See if anybody.
The question was, when Data and Geordi rush off the holodeck after meeting Moriarty for the first time, Geordi asks Data if Dr. Pulaski is in danger. Data responds by saying what? A, unimaginable danger. B, unthinkable danger. Or C, grave danger. What was it, guys?
She is in grave danger.
Yeah.
Mm.
So anyway, I've made up another question to get past it. So this is a commander question, still multiple choice, but worth 50 TNG points. So this episode, Elementary, Dear Data, was written by which writer? A, Brian Allen Lane, B, Brian Baker Lane, or C, Brian Alexander Lane. So the author of this episode is A, Brian Allen Lane, B, Brian Baker Lane, or C, Brian Alexander Lane. 50 points up for anyone who gets the right answer. Put your answers in chat, please.
I have no idea. But then again, if you'd asked the first question, even though I just read out the answer, I still wouldn't have known the answer. Even though I just said it. And I don't know if you mentioned that Smiler said when you said you had 10 questions, she yelled out a G-star in a Wheaton-like manner.
Oh, I get that now. I did wonder. Oh, and speaking of which, guess who's not in this episode?
Well, Wesley. Wesley is missing. Just a little bit of factoid. As the author of this episode, when I reveal the answer in a minute, I'm not going to give it away, but the author of this episode, this was obviously a very, very popular episode, was very well received by critics, won quite a few Emmy Awards, but this is the only episode of TNG that he ever wrote. So I wouldn't be surprised if people didn't know. Karen's certain that it's B because she's put it in twice. Or maybe she was putting the first B to the first question that I asked.
I've got like a multifaceted factoid that I didn't even bother writing down, and I'm pretty sure none of this gives away your answer, but there's a whole bunch of links between cast members of Star Trek and Sherlock Holmes. So like Leonard Nimoy played Sherlock on stage. Christopher Plummer played the part in Murder by Decree in 1979. Director Nicholas Meyer wrote 3 Sherlock Holmes novels, which were adapted into the screen. Sherlock's brother Mycroft was played by Jeremy Kemp, who plays Jean-Luc Picard's brother in Family. And Benedict Cumberbatch from Into Darkness also played Sherlock in the TV series, and Star Trek veteran John Rhys Davis also played Dr. Watson. So there's like just a multifaceted link between Star Trek actors and Sherlock Holmes.
Very cool.
Smiler's just asked the question, was this the only episode that you ever wrote because of the load of hassle having used Sherlock Holmes' character? I don't know whether that is the case, Smiler, but what I will try and do is I'll try and find out what the circumstances were and maybe why I didn't, and I'll share it in next week's episode. For now, since everybody's answered, what's your guys' guesses? Because you were saying, I don't know the answer to that one. So what are you thinking, Joel? A, B, or C?
All right, go on then, Joe.
I actually don't know this one. I'm embarrassed to say, but I'm going to go with B.
Okay. Monty?
I'm going to go. Well, my Stu Plum went C, Karen went B. I'm going to go A.
You're going to go A.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, if you were a player, Monty, you would be walking away with the 50 TNG points. Basically, I put a bit of a curveball in the answer B with Brian Baker Lane.
I guessed that.
Baker Street.
Yes.
Oh, you minx.
Sorry. That was on the cuff as well. That was not bad.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, so the correct author was Brian Allen Lane. Yeah, and this is the only episode he ever wrote for the TNG series. It'd be interesting to actually go off and have a look at that and come back to Smiler with an answer, see if it was just TNG, maybe he wrote some episodes for, DS9 or Voyager, you never know. But yeah, it just seemed a bit weird considering this episode was so well received and well loved. Won Emmys for Best Set Design and Best Costume.
Very cool.
Oh, so just to give a roundup of points then, it's still the same. So we got Karen on 50 and Stu Plum on 25. But we still got the captain's question to come for 100 points.
All to play for in the ready money round. Right. Yes, Moriarty and Dr. Pulaski are having afternoon tea.
Crumpets.
Yeah, and she's playing at pretending not to notice that anything's wrong, anything's going on. She's just going along with it. But she does say that she feels he's changed, that he's not the Moriarty that she's read about in the books. And so he then calls up the Arch, which surprises Pulaski. And he asks the computer a load of questions. He doesn't quite know how to get to all the answers yet, but he's learning more as he goes along.
And he calls the computer Mr. Computer for some reason,
Mr. Computer.
even though it's clearly a lady's voice. I have no idea why.
I don't know. No.
I mean, who knows, what gender the computer identifies as, but it seems a bit odd. It's an odd choice.
Yeah. Dr. Pulaski then tries to just brazenly leave and go, well, you don't need me anymore then. But Moriarty's... and she asks Moriarty if he'd like to join her, but he's wise to it, and he says, I know I can't join you. I will eventually, but I know I can't at the moment. But you have to stay here because you're the bait, and this control lever I have that controls the ship, this is going to be the hook that brings down Captain Picard to me. And Dr. Pulaski's like, Captain who? Outside, Worf meets Picard and Data in the corridor, and Worf's dressed in... Oh, have we got some pictures? Probably not. No, we haven't got any other pictures, unfortunately.
Oh, rubbish.
Yeah. Oh, I've messed that up, haven't I? What have I done?
You've done the Genesis effect.
I have. Oh, no.
And whatever you've done has made Maz disappear.
It's made Maz... Oh, my gosh, she's gone.
What have you done with her, Joel? You've shrunken her?
There's no pictures of... There's no pictures of Worf looking dapper in his Victorian outfit, but Worf joins them. And
we ran into a wine having in the bottle problem, so I just went to do it.
Oh, do you know? I never got any blood wine because of all the issues we had.
Get him some wine.
I know all the issues we had with the stream early on. I've never had a chance to get my blood wine. So Riker looks Worf up and down and goes, "Nice suit." And then Picard, to get ready with his dapper thing, pops his pop hat out. You know the way you can pop a pop hat, a top hat, pop, and that actually makes Data jump. He's like, "Woo!"
Yeah.
Yeah.
He does. I haven't seen chat, but Karen's got to be going berserk right now. About how
Why?
it looked.
Oh, in his top hat and tails, I think. Yeah.
That's indeed.
So Picard and Data enter the they enter the holodeck, and Picard finds a tuppence on the floor, and instantly a robber tries to. Oh, look! What's just appeared?
Yay! Nice one, Smiler. He has his blood wine.
Smiler visited the Replomat, and got me some synthahol, and it just happens to be a Malbec. So, yeah.
Well, we've just cracked open a 10-year-old Chateau Neuf de Pape.
Oh, very nice.
Yars. I was going to do it for 1997, but Joel wouldn't let me open that for him. He wants something to open it for, frankly. I don't know.
No. I would have gone for that.
Is it good?
So yeah, Robert tries to rob him of his tuppence, but Data subdues him by squeezing his thumb.
He does. I've got to learn that trick.
I don't know if just squeezing someone's thumb really just completely incapacitates someone.
Well, if it was as painful as Data could squeeze your thumb, because he could crush the bone.
I guess so.
True that.
Don't rush with the answer. Take a drink of wine.
Yeah, sorry. I just wanted to try it. I just literally my throat's all dry. Yeah, so squeezing thumb. Would it really? Does a holodeck character have bones? I don't know, but yeah, and they deduce from that bone crushing of the holodeck character that the safeties are off, and Picard's like, oh, he could have killed me. So they enter the warehouse, and Moriarty seems even more aware of his situation. Pulaski is fine, but it turns out that Moriarty's been torturing her with crumpets, as I think they've been mentioning in the chat. Moriarty, to get his point across, makes the ship rock again with his lever, and Picard says he was. He informs him that he was created to defeat Data. So with that, Data capitulates and says, "Congratulations, sir. You have beaten me." But Moriarty doesn't really care about that anymore. He's moved beyond his original programming, and he just wants out of the holodeck. Picard explains that they can't exit outside the holodeck. And he explains what the holodeck is and how it works like transporters and its energy and not matter. And
unless you're a snowball.
Or a piece of paper with an Enterprise picture on it.
Picture on it, yeah. That's one of the gifts. You just stole it.
Yeah, and people just say, it's because it's replicated technology. Effectively, it can still make matter.
So yeah,
that's how it makes things real in the holodeck. But that means that every time you're destroying something in the holodeck, you're destroying a real thing, like not just a holographic projection.
Yeah, if you chop off someone's head and carry it out of the holodeck, are you just carrying a head down the corridor?
I just think it's something that the makers of the program just can get their head around correctly.
They just couldn't quite grasp it, could they? No.
I want to say that G-Star asked, would crumpets have been around back then? I don't know about that, but on, like in Moriarty's lab, there's all those sort of bottles and vials and glass stuff, like a laboratory. But there's Pyrex written on one of them, apparently, which apparently it was, the whole sort of Sherlock series was up to around 1900, and Pyrex was invented in 1915. So that's a little anachronism.
Well, there you go. Moriarty, so he wants out, says that he is more than just a hologram. He thinks, therefore he is. Picard says that they cannot give him what he wants because basically they don't have the technology. It doesn't exist yet. He can't make that happen. So he's like, "You're going to have to kill me, sir." And he says, "Well, I don't do that either." But Moriarty hands Dr. Pulaski back and says, "My fate is now in your hands, Picard." And Picard says that he will save his program. He will store him on a hard disk somewhere in the ship's computer and bring him back.
About him.
Yeah, forget about him for 4 years until they can sort out copyright or licensing issues. Yeah. So yeah, they we'll save you, and hopefully, when the technology's right, we'll bring you back and allow you to leave. And so he says to Dr. Pulaski, "Oh, maybe we will meet again, Doctor." And she's like, "Well, it might not be for some time. I might be an old lady by then." And Smiler and I looked at each other.
I did laugh.
It's like, who's going to tell her?
Craggy face.
Joe's like, what? That age isn't old. Yeah.
Was it?
He's saying she's his age, but he looks exceptionally young for his. I think people should guess Joel's age. I don't think anybody will ever get anywhere near.
Oh, how many TNG points?
50 TNG points if you can
50
guess Joel's
TNG
age.
points. 52.
No.
50.
No.
Okay, we'll wait
89.
for Duplum and Karen to come in on the
89.
age of our. It's not very polite, is it, to have a special guest on and then have a competition about their age?
Crucify me later. It's funny because he looks so young. Like I would put him at like late 40s. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ow!
What?
I'm only 42.
But you're younger than me, are you?
Ronald's got 43, Duplum 48, G-Star 59.
You've already guessed G-Star.
You can't guess twice.
I can.
No, mate, yeah, you can. It's your competition. Yeah.
Oh, come on, give us the answer.
You are correct with your second guess, G-Star.
Oh,
Really?
my God. You are looking good, Joel.
It does look super, super fine.
I'm a long way from the camera.
No, I'm right up close to him, and he looks super fine.
Anyhow,
I still look the eldest on stream, so you're all right.
I'm going to go and spend my time on a boat. See ya.
Yeah, gee, you're similar. You're a baby face too. You're also like have a bit of a timeless look to you. So yeah, you're like two peas in a pod.
All right. Yes. Wow. Well done. Yeah. So yes,
Brian said 37.
I'll be an old lady by then, but I will still fill you with crumpets, he says. So he threatens her to the very end with more crumpet torture. Picard saves the program, and then he later visits Geordi down in engineering to see how the model of the Victory had fared with all the shaking about the ship. And Geordi says it suffered a little bit of damage, but it will soon be repaired. He says, yes, it will soon be ship shape and Bristol fashion. Geordi's like, what? Picard explains that means that something's in order, something is in order. That ship's in order, and so are we, Geordi. And they head off to their next mission.
I couldn't be more wrong. Crumpets originally came around in the 17th century.
Wow.
Do you like a crumpet, Joel?
I do.
Is it scone or scone?
It depends on which part of the country. If you're from the south, it's scone.
I mean,
if you're
for
from the
you,
north,
what do you call it?
a biscuit.
Oh God,
Yeah.
I call it a scone.
scone.
We're scones.
It's gone.
Scone.
Oh.
No, because I ate it. It's gone.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Fastest cake in the world.
Yeah.
Scone.
Deary me.
Did you finish the narration there, Mark?
I'm done.
Yeah,
Okie dokie.
I am done, sir.
Question time.
Kind of question.
It's the captain question, the big one for 100 TNG points. This one is going to be the fastest on the buzzer. The first person to get the correct answer in comments. So get ready. There is no multiple choice. You're really going to have to earn the 100 TNG points for this one. No multiple choice. But it is quite an easy question. So here we go. According to Maurice Hurley, who's one of the producers on The Next Generation, the idea for this episode was inspired by what season 1 episode? According to Maurice Hurley, the idea for this episode was inspired by what season 1 episode? Get your answers in the chat as quick as you possibly can.
No idea.
What it's called.
I don't know. I had no idea that it was. So there you go.
Or did you look it up?
Me?
No, Maria. Maz.
No. I'm just like, I don't know. I'm not answering.
I'm going to go with, is it The Big Goodbye?
You can't dunk a biscuit scone.
You can't say it, Mark. You have to put it in the chat.
I put it in the chat, yeah.
No, did you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'll save you the pain, Stu Plum. Karen's got it right. It was from the episode No Clue. I'm joking. I'm joking, of course. No, yep, Stu's now got it right. It's from the episode No Idea. No, the winner this evening, taking the big cheese, finishing off with the big 100 TNG points, is the host himself, Monty. He got it correct. The episode, season 1 episode that influenced this one is The Big Goodbye.
Yep. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
So,
I was going to go between that or the we'll only have Paris. I was thinking of the two. We'll always have Paris.
We'll always have Paris.
The two holiday episodes. But, yeah,
I would have gone. I would have naturally, even if I hadn't read that, I would have probably gone for The Big Goodbye just because of the similarities between the sort of time period and the holodeck, and then being impressed with what it can do and things like that. And it has a very similar tone to it. So, yeah, question and a little bit of factoid for you there. But yeah, so that meant that we had Stu Plum on 25 TNG points, Karen in second place with 50 TNG points, but Monty the winner with 100 TNG points.
Oh, I always feel bad when I win it on the 100-point question. It doesn't seem fair. But I'll take it.
Makes the other guys want to work harder for the earlier questions, but you can't get those points in.
Yeah.
Well, I've got a few things that I didn't mention earlier, but did you say in the conference room about how Picard said nerd?
No,
but I know what it means.
Well, yeah, it means shit in French, but you know, one of the reasons, and that's the second time I think he said nerd. I think he said it was it in the first couple of episodes, the first series? But they put that in because although they wouldn't be able to just say shit because it wouldn't pass the censors for the time of day that they wanted to show it, the fact that it's in a different language passes the TV censors, so they enable the captain to like swear occasionally by just putting it in another language. I thought that was pretty cool. There might be a couple of other bits I've forgotten about. Don't know. Oh yeah, apparently, and I didn't pick up on this, but apparently at some point Data says it was the author Conan Doyle. I didn't pick up on it, but I read that.
In what context did he say that?
Well, it's when he's sort of explaining to somebody about the story or what have you. But I didn't actually. But instead of saying Arthur Conan Doyle, he said it's the author Conan Doyle. And I read it and then I watched the episode. I didn't actually hear it, but I didn't have time to go back and check. But I just thought that was quite funny.
Conan the Barbarian Doyle.
I don't know. I don't think I have any other particularly interesting ones. There's a couple of little bits and bobs, like when they say freeze holodeck and the fire continues burning because it's like fire. A few little bits and bobs like that, but they're not so interesting.
I think earlier on in the episode, there was an extra who had a line. It was a female, and she features on another episode, but I can't remember her name, but I remember reading something about the fact that she then went on to become quite a big name, was in a few films. She was, I think, in The Piano alongside Helen Hunt. But this is the first,
God, I haven't seen that for a long time.
this is the first film that this is the first episode that she appeared in. She was, I think it was at the beginning, she was the girl in the person in engineering that Data spoke to before he goes to speak to Geordi. At the very beginning, and she does feature in a later episode in season 2 as well, so we can watch out for her. But yeah, if anybody knows her name or put it in chat, but yeah, I can't remember the details on that one.
Well, it's up to the important scoring point now.
Okay, get your scores in chat, guys. Let's know what you score. Oh, this is a tough one. Oh, goodness.
See, we already talked before, and we happen to have chosen the same score, so that's cool.
Oh, have you?
Can I ask what I scored last week?
Yep, 6.
666. We did the sign of the devil.
Sign of the devil.
Oh, yeah.
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 Okay.
So, what are we going with then? Ready?
Yeah.
Oh, and everybody else, put your scores in chat, please, if you want to let us know what you think. Out of 10, what you think the score of this episode should be. 10 in the chat. So here we go. 3, 2, 1.
Mark.
Wow.
I've gone crazy. I've gone big. I've gone big, baby.
That is an awesome episode, isn't it?
It is a great episode. I mean, I'm so glad that, with Joel's guest starring, it was a decent episode, not like The Child or, what have you. But yeah, it was a great episode, to be fair. And I think that might be my highest or joint highest score so far.
Yes, it is. Yeah. You gave 8 to We'll Always Have Paris.
I think it's my joint highest as well.
Which you're an 8. You gave 1100101 an 8 and The Battle an 8.
Yes, I've not given anything over an 8 yet.
Yeah. So this is my first 9, I think.
Yeah, it's the first of any of us have gone to a 9.
I think this is the first 9 we've ever given out. Yeah.
We need some crowd noise.
I'll just share the.
Stu Plum's handing out those 9s. He's gone like that. Yeah, 9. Karen's giving it a realistic 8. Yeah.
A realistic 8.
Oh, sorry. Did I just say that loud?
Yeah. So yes, that's the scores for so far season 2. We've got The Child on 4.6, where Silence is Lease as 6, and Elementary Dear Data 8.33.
I sense next week it's going to drop.
I might say it's been heading in the right direction this season so far, isn't it?
What is next week?
Next week? That's a good question.
I can tell you. Give me 2 seconds.
I did know. It is. Oh.
I've got it. The Outrageous Iconia.
No.
That was the species that I was trying to talk about when they were in series 1 and the children had got taken on that planet and there was the custodian. The custodian, the panel and the way in which it kind of looked very Iconian.
Yeah, it's actually Okana. It's the name of a chap.
Well, there is an Iconian later on, and that's just probably right.
He's like a rogue-like character, isn't he? Yeah, Outrageous Okana. He's like Harrison Ford. He's like.
Oh, you're the one who keeps trying to chat up all the.
Yeah.
It's like a young Han Solo or something.
Yeah, Han Solo. He's like a Han Solo type character. He's like a roguish kind of, wears like a leather jacket and it's just like. I think he has a bit of a thing with Troy. I think possibly.
Stu put episode 4 when we were debating what was the name of the next episode. He put episode 4.
It's absolute genius.
All right, let's have a competition around the dad jokes. Say, come on, Stu Blood.
Yeah, we haven't had many dad jokes this evening.
Hardly any plans. I think there was only one from Gary, wasn't there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
On that one, I am in the lead.
You won that. You won that battle this evening, Jay.
I would have given that episode a 10 if it wasn't for the fact that Dr. Pesky's in it.
I think you're being unnecessarily harsh. Just because she was brought in by Gene Roddenberry doesn't mean she actually wasn't quite good.
Well, it's because she was sleeping with him, wasn't it? Let's be honest.
See, I think Joel's got a good point that she is quite a good actress, actually. But one of the reasons why these guys hate her so much is because of how she's so like xenophobic towards Data, and she's so harsh. And he's like the most favorite character, and she basically comes into the series and for 3 episodes acts really, really racist to the fans' most loved characters. So it's they're never going to endear themselves, are they?
But she was brought. That's acting as a foil.
Yeah.
I will give her props as an actor because she annoys me, and that in part way was the job that she was penned to do, else they wouldn't have scripted it. However, there is a bit of a problem in her character, the way the character has been written, the way the character was developed, because this is the 24th century. As a doctor, she's quite cold, not just to Data, but to other people as well. It's almost like she was a doctor of working in a lab. And I just don't think that that's very realistic for the 24th century, when probably it would be more evident for doctors to be even more emotive back then. But she seems like quite a cold person, which I just think is a wrong character, the way in which the crew wrote it incorrectly, I think. Personal opinion.
Go on, respond.
Well,
Don't just stick your finger up. Respond.
No, but I'm the guest here. I'm going to get chucked off. I'll never be invited back.
That's fine. We like the bounce.
But I think that part of it is that she's developing into her character, right? And they're figuring out how to write her in as a character. She was written in as kind of a Bones character, isn't she?
Yeah,
definitely. Definitely.
Abrasive. And as that, she's quite good, I think. I really liked her when she came in. I was like, Gates McFadden, she's a really good actress, but the way they wrote her character was just so wishy-washy.
You're so kind. Gates McFadden is an awful actress.
Okay, well, whatever. I'm just saying that they wrote her character very badly.
I'll tell you what.
Lasky, like she's supposed to be like a bit of a technophobe, a little bit like like in the
she's
Bonesy.
Like Bones, yeah, I don't like being transported.
Whereas she's like, oh, I don't like the idea of androids. It's carrying on that theme, which obviously she was one of Gene Roddenberry's friends, and he brought her in, and she was paid like more money than the rest of the cast, which wasn't great, but it was him sort of asserting that, trying to bring in that old style.
Well, you get paid those extras if you give extras.
Salt the guest.
You know what I mean?
She actually threw me off the chair.
It's only because you keep getting right to the edge.
No, I'm not. I feel like I'm crowding you. So also, when you look at the way.
Good night, Stu.
Sorry.
Yeah. Good night, Stu Plum.
Good
night, Stu Plum. Saying goodbye to Stu Plum.
Sorry, I'm carrying on.
Yeah, carry on.
I was going to say Bones and Spock. There's that whole damn it, Spock. Don't you have any emotion? All that over the top stuff.
Yeah.
The same thing. We were trying to play out the same thing because Data was playing the same part as Spock. It's the foil to a human, right? What is a human? Is Spock human?
And at the end of the day,
I think it would have been better.
Humanity. They all just completely accept him.
Yeah.
So the only way you get that dynamic of somebody saying, well, is he human, and what are his limits, and can he do this and can he do that? You need a character to question that, I guess.
I think it would have been better if they'd eased her into that a little bit during the season rather than come in at it with all guns firing for Data.
No,
It
I
wouldn't have turned us off so much, you know.
Again,
I think they could have been a bit more
character
tactful
development,
about it. And I also think that she was also brought in as more of an antagonist because during the first season, the whole crew were just so goddamn perfect, you know, with each other and polite. And they just were like, how can we create drama when everybody's just so polite and respectful and perfect? You know, we need someone in there as a bit of an antagonism just to create some drama and conflict. And if it looks like old Star Trek at the same time and has those member berries for that, then all the better. People are going to go along with it more, you know. So yeah, I think it's a bit of all those things.
I mean, you know,
but it just didn't quite work initially. I think that's the problem.
I think especially TNG has this sort of bit of formula where if I think about all the episodes throughout all the seasons, which are the real standout ones for me that I really like, you know, they're usually, not always, but usually they've got a guest star that is a sublime actor. And, you know, it kind of props up the whole thing, you know, it makes the rest of the cast up their game a little bit. And, you know, Daniel Davis, the guy who played Moriarty, he's just great. He's just outstanding.
He's phenomenal.
Joe said this to me.
I agree with you completely.
I can see why they arced it and brought him back again. It would have been crime not to. And even when he comes back in the Ship in the Bottle, he's even better. He's even stronger as a character. Yeah, you know, and if you think of some of the really big favorite episodes of Star Trek, they usually have kind of, you know, a guest star that's kind of really solid, even whether it's a big name or just somebody who was relatively not a big name at that time. But yeah, so winning formula for this episode, I think.
Yeah, definitely. Yes.
Here comes that.
So
there you go.
I think it's going to be it's going to have to be a special episode, I think, in this season to beat this episode to our top score. But I can't remember what all the episodes are this season, so you never know. Maybe there will be another good one out there. But I think that's gonna reign for a little while.
Yep.
Yep.
Right. Well, thank you, guys. Sorry for the false starts and the
Technical issues.
The way I like to think about it, we persevered. We did not give up. We did not surrender.
We're just like that Mars rover.
Dare mighty things.
Sorry,
what did you say, Joe?
Dare mighty things, right?
Dare mighty things. Yes.
That is, oh gosh, I know that.
Nelson?
Something.
Well, it's actually used by JPL for the Mars rover.
Right.
Yeah.
But
yes,
it's
dare mighty things.
Well, it's been lovely having you as a guest on the show, Joe.
I'll be quiet next week. Thank goodness for you.
No, it's been fun.
Very much. It was a blast being on here.
Cool.
Yeah. Hopefully normal service will resume next week when we'll have the technology working a little bit better. And join us on Friday for our rerun of the Monty's Own Missing episode. We're going to give it another go this Friday for those that missed the episode that's missing last Friday.
Yeah, it was called The Missing and it went missing, and yeah, it's all missing still. But just to point out what we covered at the beginning of the episode, which was a bit of coverage of Amelia Earhart and Jimmy Hoffa. We're not going to be covering that when we revisit this Friday. We're going to be going straight into the missing 411 cases.
Stories.
But on the Facebook page, I am sharing some really good links that you can go and check out, where you can kind of catch up with the Amelia Earhart story and the mystery, and that of Jimmy Hoffa as well.
Yeah, I was going to say maybe you could do it as like a G-Star Vault, something about Amelia Earhart. That's like a story that I quite am interested in. But yeah,
Yeah.
I will patch it. I will patch it onto the final final product.
I would actually like that. I'd like to do Amelia Earhart.
Yeah,
Sorry.
it's good. It's really interesting. An interesting thing. But yes, thank you, Stupum. Thank you, Karen. Thank you, Smiler, for putting up with me and getting me through it. Thank you, Ronald, for coming along. And thank you, everyone else that has joined us in chat and answered questions and given us some
Ronald was
stories.
joining us from South Africa.
Was he really?
Yeah.
That's cool.
Wow.
He's a
That
friend.
is cool. Well, that's cool. So yeah, thank you everyone, and join us next time for the next TNG review.
Wait,
Cheers.
Joe.
Bye.
Bye.